Good morning. It is day 18. Spent the night here at Montclair Glen shelter. Gonna try to show you around. Kind of hard in selfie mode here, but here's the outside of the shelter, and then we'll take you inside. Kind of dark in here. But there's the bunks. We were up over here last night. And there's as you can see, there's a bottom set of bunks in there. And then a nice little picnic table inside. Pretty nice spot and dry and comfortable. So here's Montclair Glen Lodge from the outside. The long trail coming in from the south over there. Picnic table with a tarp. And then the long trail north goes out this way. There's a bear box over that way, which is kind of nice, is really nice. And then there's a trail out beside the lodge that leads back to some tent sites, which we thankfully didn't have to use last night because there was space in the lodge. But there is overflow tenting here. The tent sites are back this way. I didn't actually check them out last night, so we will see what there is. So there's a platform over there. There's a couple of flat spots besides that, but yeah, there wouldn't be, if there was a crowd, it might be a little difficult to find a tent spot. And then you come back towards the lodge. And the privy's down this way, and I'll show you that in a couple minutes.
Good morning. So this is Montclair Glen shelter, and we have a bit of a drizzly, rainy morning this morning. This is actually the trail down to the privy, and it is a composting privy. But it is all decked out with some special artwork. And because it is a composting privy, you're not supposed to pee in these privies. So this one happens to have a pee palace. Yep. You have a couple of walled sides so that you have a little bit of privacy, but that was the goal, was to not pee in the privy, so pee in the woods. It used to actually be marked as the woods. And in this privy, you have extra reminders. Please do not pee in the privy. Very ornate one. And again, we have scouts helping out as a service project. These are also some good rules to follow when using the privy. Please don't put trash in them or food. That attracts animals. Clothing, because guess what? There are people that actually have to service these. So please don't do that. Really hard to get out. And if you have a dog with you, go ahead and let the dog go in the woods. They're an animal. It works that way. If you're with them, go ahead and make a little cat hole for them, even if it is a dog. But please be respectful of the privies. It's awesome that we have them out here to use, and whether it's the pea palace or you need to go find a tree, follow those rules for a composting privy, and you'll keep your caretakers happy too. Thanks.
10:15. We're on the trail. We were in no hurry this morning. Heard the rain pounding on the roof of the shelter, and got 10.7 miles to do today. First 1.9 is straight up to Camel's Hump. And the rest of it is mostly down. There's a road walk and along the Winooski River. And our friend Hawkeye is picking us up at Route 2. We're gonna spend a night at his house, get back on the trail in the morning. So that'll be nice. And we'll see. There's not going to be any views on top of Camel's Hump today. I can guarantee. Just came to this intersection. To be honest, I don't know what the purpose of the Alice Trail is. Maybe sometime I'll just come up and hike it to see where it rejoins the long trail. I'm sure I'll see it today. Dean Trail, which leads to Monroe Trail, and Hump Brook Tent Area, which is 7/10 of a mile off trail, which I guess if the lodge was full and tent sites behind it were full would be another option, because it's quite a ways to the next campsite up over Camel's Hump. And there's Long Trail North, and there's Topped up ahead. That's where we're headed. Well, no stunning views, but it's still pretty in its own way. Clouds, we're hiking in a cloud basically, the mist on the trees, it's still pretty, just a different kind of pretty. Working our way up the south side of Camel's Hump, and this is what the terrain looks like. So there are a few flat stretches going up Camel's Hump. Unfortunately today with the rain this morning, they're a little underwater. So trail hasn't been too bad today, but that's just what we came up there. And you can find some dry spots, but that's the trail going up. There's Tup going through the water, so really, most spots hasn't been too bad, but this little stretch, a little rough right now. So we just came up from there. We've reached the bad weather bypass, which goes down there. There's a wing from a bomber plane from the World War II era down that way. We're not going to go visit that unless we decide to take the bad weather bypass. There's a really nice sign that, I mean, they just didn't finish the bench, or it's, you know, maybe some sort of rock bench, I'm not sure, but
Rock collection.
Rock collection for sure. And the
It
trail
does look like a lot like a
goes up that way. So which way are we going, Tupped?
We're going on the LT.
All right. So it's currently 57.4 degrees. We've decided to go up the long trail and not the bad weather bypass. And we're putting our rain jackets on because It's one of the few times that we know we're going to be hiking real slow, and it's real windy, and this is more of a windbreaker and trying to keep a little warm going over the summit, because usually it's too hot and sweaty with the rain jacket on. We have reached the alpine area, so you got to stay on the rocks. Unfortunately, the rocks are the side of the mountain, as you can see topped. And, well, normally you can kind of see the top of the mountain, but not so much today. And you can usually see Lake Champlain, so not today.
So we have come to that spot in the trail. This isn't my favorite in good weather. See how it goes in poor weather. This is also an alpine section, so you have to stick to walking on the rocks to help the vegetation continue to grow up here. So, in certain ways it's kind of nice not to see the extent of the plummet on the other side, but definitely be focusing on where we're going.
So we just came around that corner there. We met another hiker, we let him come through. He was heading back down the mountain. We're heading up. Kind of coaching each other along through here. Here it goes, topped. And we're working our way up the mountain. So that's where we've been. Look at all the views. Haha. And now we're coming up the last 100 yards or so, coming up Camel's Hump to the summit. There, see that they got strings there to mark kind of where to stay off of, protecting that fragile vegetation. Wind is a little strong today, making it hard to hold the phone. White blazes on the rocks. Closer to the summit, looking back, so foggy you can barely see top down there. Summit, Camel's Hump. Look at those views. Haha. We're both tucked and I made it to the summit. Feet there to prove it. Coming down the north side of Camel's Hump. Views are no less spectacular and no more spectacular. The wind is much calmer on the north side right now, though. We're at the clearing just north of Camel's Hump, and we are starting lunch with dessert with our Snickers bars. Top says satisfies on hers. It's probably showing it backwards, but we're just, life's short. Start with dessert. I don't know. I think the sign's a little judgmental. Maybe somebody wants to go on a really long day hike. Headed down Camel's Hump towards Banforth Ridge, and this is what the trail currently looks like. It is a stream. So we lucked out this morning, wasn't too awful bad, but way down is so far a little wetter. When we did this section last year, we were chasing the sunset, or trying to beat it, and we didn't. This year, thankfully, we're quite a bit earlier, but even if there was a sunset, we wouldn't be seeing it. But this is a beautiful section. You can almost see the trees the next section down below, but yeah, no real views today anywhere. So this narrow little spot is the trail. Well, thankfully for once we don't have to go up this rock face or somehow figure out how to get up this one, but I have to go right through the middle, which is the best option. We've made it to the Banforth Ridge shelter, which is 2/10 of a mile down that direction. And we're continuing down to Route 2. Just a little bit. Still got a ways to go. Finally getting low enough that we're underneath the clouds. Starting to get a view. Sun's even trying to break through the clouds a little bit up there. And way out in the distance, it's gonna be hard to tell between clouds and land and sky, but there is a view of Lake Champlain, at least with the naked eye. We've made it to the Duxbury window. You can see Route 2 and Interstate 89 down there below. A little bit of the ridgeline we got to do tomorrow. Top of it, of course, is in the clouds. And there's a nice bench here for rest if you want it.
We are still traveling north on the LT and just wanted to pause for a second and check out this rock outcropping. You'll see a number of these on the trail. This one has a really neat kind of cave space below it. It's not actively raining right now, which is kind of nice, but if for some reason you got stuck out in a downpour, just one of those quick summer ones, this might be a nice place to kind of hunker down for a sec. But on we go.
Thankfully, that isn't part of the trail today. But a beautiful waterfall just off trail. Nice stream up above it. The trail gets nice and smooth as we get down towards the Duxbury Road, which we will take because today has been anything but smooth. It's been an enjoyable experience today, but it's been hard work, which I did expect, but we're not liking the lichen on the rocks. They're pretty slippery. Even if the rock itself is dry, that lichen holds the moisture and makes it a little more challenging. But pretty soon we'll be having a road walk and eventually crossing the Winooski River footbridge and going to our friend Hawkeye's house for a nice dinner and a warm, dry bed. Beautiful stream as we're getting closer to the Duxbury Road. Nice bridge here to cross it. Thankful we don't have to cross it on something like that log down there. And we're getting closer to the road, closer to our pickup point. We've reached the Duxbury Road parking lot. That's where we came from. And then the trail comes out here, and as you can see, the sign says Long Trail North, caution, fast traffic, blind curves on road walk. Woo! Happy, happy, joy, joy. And here is the Duxbury Road walk. And there goes Tupped. See if I can catch up to her. So, after a pretty good road walk, about almost 3/4 of a mile or so, you see the sign, Long Trail North. And that's where we go.
Watch out for the cautions.
And river access. And then we'll be walking along the stream. We'll be walking along the stream for a while, or the river for a while. So, it's a pretty nice, easy trail along here. Walking right along the Winooski River. Other than the road noise from Route 2 and the interstate, it's a very beautiful little stretch of trail. There's Tupped up ahead. Like I said, pretty easy sailing through here. So after the walk through along the stream through this tall grass, come to a fence crossing. So a little set of stairs is going to take us up over the fence. And as Tupped was saying, this is one of the rare ones where there's actually a fence. There was a couple earlier in the trail that went over nothing. This one's, as you can see, has a working fence. There goes Tupped over it. Here I come behind her. And there we go. So I've heard a lot of people missing this turn. So we just came across that ladder over the fence. We're coming through here, and a lot of people just stay on this mowed path and wind up in the farmer's field or his farmer's yard. But there's a white blaze on a tree over here, and that's where you need to turn. Pretty easy to miss it. It's less than, it's probably 50 yards if that. And this will continue you north on a long trail. So that's looking back at the ridge that we came down earlier, down to Duxbury Road. And then that's the beginning of our day tomorrow. But for now, we've got another fence crossing, another stream crossing, and then we'll be at the Winooski River footbridge pretty soon. So we just got to the stream crossing, but there's an option of a high water bypass, and really don't feel like changing into my Crocs, so we're gonna take the high water bypass today, which is over this way. Coming up to the Winooski River footbridge. It's the lowest point on the long trail, 315 feet above sea level. And so today we've done the second highest point and the lowest point. So here is Winooski River footbridge. Warning not to jump in because it could ruin your hike. There is probably, if you looked around, you could probably find a nice swimming hole if you wanted. Right now the water's running pretty fast, so I'm not sure about that. The lowest point on the long trail. So over there is a nice sandbar. If I was going to go for a swim, that looks like that'd be my spot. This one's harder to get bouncing. It's a little more secure. One at the Clarendon Gorge, I get that one bouncing pretty good. And the footbridge was opened June 12th, 2015. Here comes Tupt coming across. And then there's stairs down and the trail goes out to the road. Goes out over there. Our recap from day 18. Hiked over Camel's Hump down to Route 2. Our friend Hawkeye picked us up. This is where we ended off. It was wet and miserable and a little rough coming down Banforth Ridge. But there goes Hawkeye right now. And we'll be on the trail in the next little video.